My name is Leo, and for the last 3 months, I've lived in the sky. That's what it feels like anyway. My home is the Two Forks Lookout, a small cabin perched on a 100-foot steel tower swaying gently in the wind above a sea of pine trees. After the noise of the city, the noise of my life, the silence up here was supposed to be a cure, a way to forget the screech of tires, shattering of glass, and the face of the person I lost. I came here seeking solitude, and for a while, I found it. The days are simple. I wake with the sun, I make coffee, I scan the endless green horizon with my binoculars, quadrant by quadrant, looking for the faintest wisp of smoke. My only connection to the world is a crackling radio and the voice of a man named Frank, my supervisor, who sits in a comfortable office 50 miles away. Every morning at 8 a.m., I check in. 2 forks to base. All clear on the ridge. Every evening at 8 p.m., I check out. 2 forks to base. All clear. Good night. It's a lonely life, but that's what I wanted. The loneliness was a balm. For the first 2 months, it was perfect. Silence was absolute, broken only by the wind whistling through the steel legs of the tower and the cry of a distant hawk. I read books. I watched the weather change. I felt the noise in my head finally begin to quiet down. The past was still there, a dull ache in my chest, but it was manageable. Solitude was working until it wasn't. It started subtly, a flicker in the corner of my eye, the feeling of being watched when I knew for a fact that the nearest human being was miles away. I dismissed it as cabin fever, the tricks your mind plays on you when you're alone for too long. Then came the radio. It was a quiet afternoon. The air was still, the sky a brilliant cloudless blue. I was making a log entry when the radio crackled to life. Unprompted, a burst of static, and then a voice. It was faint, distorted, buried under layers of noise, but it was unmistakably mine. It said something I couldn't quite make out, and then it was gone. I grabbed the receiver. "This is Two Forks. Say again," I asked, my heart suddenly pounding. Only static answered. I called Frank at base. "Hey, did you just try to reach me?" I asked. "Negative, Leo," he replied, his voice clear and steady. "Radio's been silent all day. You okay up there?" I told him it was probably just a crossed signal, a fluke, but a seed of unease had been planted.
A week later, it happened again. This time, it was clearer. I was watching a family of deer graze in a meadow below when the radio crackled. "Two forks to base," the voice said. My voice. "Reporting smoke plume, grid 14 Delta." I dropped my binoculars and scrambled for the firefinder, my hands suddenly slick with sweat. I scanned the horizon, my eyes frantically searching quadrant 14 Delta. Nothing. Just endless green trees under a clear blue sky. The radio crackled again. This time it was Frank. "Copy that, Two Forks. Logging a potential smoke plume at 14 Delta. Keep an eye on it." I grabbed the receiver, my throat tight. "Frank, that wasn't me," I said, my voice trembling slightly. "There's nothing at 14 Delta. The sky is clear." There was a long pause on the other end. "Leo," Frank said, his voice laced with a careful, measured patience. "I heard you clear as day. Just keep an eye on the grid, okay? Maybe take a break. Get some fresh air." He thought I was losing it. Maybe I was. The echo, as I started to call it, grew bolder. It began making calls more frequently. Sometimes it would report false smoke plumes, making me look incompetent. Other times it would do the opposite. It would report a real fire seconds before I could. I'd be scanning the horizon, spot a tiny wisp of smoke, and as I reached for the radio, my own voice would beat me to it, calmly and efficiently reporting the exact location. I was becoming a spectator in my own job. The true terror, however, began when the echo started talking about my past. I was trying to read one evening, the sun setting in a blaze of orange and purple, when the radio came to life. "Just like that night on the highway, huh, Leo?" my voice whispered, a chilling, intimate tone that made the hair on my arm stand up. "All that smoke, all that fire. You couldn't stop it then either." I threw the book across the room. "Who is this?" I screamed into the silence of my cabin. "What do you want?" The radio remained silent. The echo only spoke when it wanted to. It was toying with me, peeling back the layers of my grief, poking at the raw nerves underneath.
My conversations with Frank became strained. He would mention chats we'd supposedly had. "Hey, glad you're feeling better today, Leo. Good talk earlier." I had no memory of these conversations. The echo was not just impersonating me at my job, it was impersonating me in my life. It was building a relationship with the only human contact I had, a relationship I was no longer a part of. I was being replaced, erased, by a version of myself that was calmer, more efficient,
and apparently much more pleasant to talk to. I started keeping a detailed log, writing down every strange occurrence, every phantom broadcast. I needed to prove I wasn't going crazy. I tried to find a pattern. The echo was always my voice, but it was better. It never stumbled over words. It never sounded tired or sad. It was the version of me that hadn't been broken by the past, the version of me I wished I could be. Last night, the storm came. The sky turned a bruised purple, and the wind howled, making the tower sway like a ship in a storm. The power went out, and the cabin was plunged into darkness, save for the emergency backup lights and the flickering static of the radio. The storm was a wall of noise, a chaotic symphony of wind and rain. And then, through the chaos, the echo cut through as clear and calm as a summer morning. 2 forks to base, it said. All clear up here. No need to send the supply chopper tomorrow. I have everything I need. I grabbed the receiver, screaming into it. Frank, that's not me. Don't listen to him. I need supplies. I need to get out of here. But my voice was lost in the static, swallowed by the storm. The radio crackled again. This time, the echo wasn't making a report. It was speaking directly to me. It's so quiet up here, isn't it? It said, its tone conversational, almost friendly. Just the two of us. But there's only room for one.
And then I heard it. A sound that didn't belong. A sound that couldn't possibly be real. A rhythmic, metallic clang coming from outside. From below, the sound of footsteps slowly and deliberately ascending the 100-foot steel staircase of my tower. I am writing this now in my logbook, my hand shaking so badly I can barely hold the pen. The footsteps are getting closer. They are steady, unhurried. They know I have nowhere to go. The wind is screaming, but the sound of those steps is the only thing I can hear. Each crang is a countdown. I've barricaded the door, but I know it won't matter. What is coming up those stairs is not something a simple lock can stop. The footsteps have stopped. They are right outside my door. The silence is back. It's heavier than ever before. I can feel a presence on the other side of that door. A cold, patient weight. Waiting. The main radio on the desk just crackled to life. It's Frank's voice, filled with static and concern. "Leo, you there? We heard a scream. Everything all right up there?" I opened my mouth to answer, to scream for help, to tell him what was happening. But before I could make a sound, another voice filled the small cabin. A voice that was calm, clear, and reassuring. My voice. "All good, Frank. Just a bit of wind. Everything's quiet up here.